Now it's time for us to get started with the fun stuff. In order to program a robot, you need to become familiar with the two different parts of the system, the hardware and the software. Your hardware is all the stuff you can touch. In other words, the physical equipment that you're going to be using. Most people use the term hardware to refer to any electronic equipment that they use. So your computer, your keyboard, your monitor, your mouse, they're all hardware. So is your cell phone. Some people would even classify their toasters as hardware. In this course, the robot that you're going to be building, together with all of the Lego bricks and special parts that came up with your kit, make up the hardware side of our system. I'll explain what software actually is in more detail in a minute, but let's start with the following definition. Software is the extra stuff that enables your computer or your robot to do interesting things. Without software, your computer and your robot are just very big paperweights. When you got your computer, it probably came with some built-in software. And maybe you've bought some additional software yourself. Whenever you use your computer, you're using software. You're running software right now in order to take this course. You need to be running some software like Chrome or Explorer or Safari or Firefox. If you want to write an essay, you have to run some software like Word or Pages or WordPad. Let's work on a better definition of the term software. The term software really means the set of programs that run on your robot or computer. Great. So what's a program? Well, you can think of a program as a recipe that gives your robot or your computer instructions on how to accomplish different tasks. Note that writing a recipe or writing a program is very different from actually following the directions in the recipe or running the program. My friend Emily wrote me out a recipe for her amazing brownies, but unfortunately, just having the recipe isn't the same thing as having the brownies. I need to pull out my cooking hardware. That is my bowls, my mixer, my pans, and so on, and carefully follow the instructions in Emily's recipe before I get the brownies. Similarly, in order to get my robot to do something, I have to write a program and then tell my robot to run the program. In other words, I'm telling my robot to follow the instructions. Let's talk a little bit more about hardware and software. We'll start with hardware, which, remember, is all of the stuff that you can touch. When you order an EV3 educational set from Lego, you get something that feels much more like a Lego set than a robot. You get this big box and comes with a nice storage box. And inside the storage box, you get some weird white box, a bunch of pieces of Lego, and little bags, and a sorting tray. The sorting tray is just amazing, by the way, because something else that Lego gives you is a map of where to put each and every piece that comes with this kit. The newer kits come with that map under the lid. If your kit didn't come with a sorting map, check out our resources section to find a link to a copy of that sorting map on Lego's website. I didn't play much with Lego as a kid, so it took me a little while to get a feel for Lego parts when I started working with the Lego robots. Having a sorting tray and a map really helped me to both organize the parts as well as to get a sense of what the different categories of Lego pieces are. If you're not a Lego expert, then the first time that you sort one of these kits, it'll probably take you quite a bit of time. But if you have to prep a classroom full of kits, don't panic. After you've sorted a few of them, you'll find that you can go from brand new kit in bags to totally sorted kit surprisingly quickly. So even if you're lucky enough to have someone who can unpack and sort your Lego for you, it's a good idea to do at least a couple of kits by yourself or with somebody else, just to get a feel for the different kinds of pieces and where stuff goes. So of course, we all know that this isn't really a regular Lego set. There's a few very special parts in the box, and we'll talk more about them in a minute. But first, let's talk a little more about the programs that you're going to write. As I said before, a program is really just a list of instructions telling the robot what to do. Kind of like a recipe is a list of instructions telling you what to do. So the process of programming your robot really has 3 steps. First, you write your program on the computer. Your program is that list of instructions for your robot to follow. Then you transfer the program from your computer to your robot. Finally, you tell your robot to run your program, and the robot will follow your instructions in the order that you specified. Before we get to programming your robot, we're going to begin by writing a recipe, specifically a recipe for making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This is actually a pretty typical exercise that is done by many introductory programming instructors. I was astonished to learn that others use this too. Janet Moss, my colleague in the teacher education department, used to use this in her classroom when she taught 5th and 6th graders, and now describes it in one of her junior-senior level courses for elementary education majors. So I've got a brand new loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, a jar of jelly, a knife, and a plate. Our first activity is simply going to involve you writing out the instructions for making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Of course, there's a catch. You need to write your recipe in such a way that someone who is really unfamiliar with the idea of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich could still follow it. And I'll let you in on a secret, which is that after you write your instructions, I'm going to try and follow your instructions very literally, which typically results in some pretty silly behavior.